name's Bernie McIntosh and I'm your MC for today. We would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri and Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation and also pay our respects to elders past, present and future, and extend that respect to all Indigenous Australians present today. Welcome to our hybrid meeting to those online and in the room. Thanks today will be given by Philip Cornish, followed by the loyal toast presented by President Adrian. Please ensure your glass is charged.
Greetings. I didn't realise it was St David's Day. I haven't got a reflection on St David, so my apologies to anybody with a Welsh connection there, but happy St David's Day. A couple of years ago I received a wonderful book about the painter Hans Holbein, best known for his portraits of the court of Henry VIII. It is full of lavish illustrations. What I didn't remember was that he was almost executed for his painting of Anne of Cleves. Other contemporaries, other than the king, considered the likeness to be very accurate. Like a lot of people in power, the king blamed the painter for his brief marriage and not himself. Serving a number of royal commissions and the like recently, it has struck me how people who paint accurate pictures, be it in oils or in words, can be in danger. Instead, followers give leaders the picture they want. Personally, I am very grateful for those who show us the truth and their courage. We need them.
Rotarians and guests, a toast to Australia and Rotary International. Australia, Rotary International. Thank you, and please be seated. We're now breaking for lunch and we'll reconvene around 1:10 p.m. And for those of you who are online, please take up the offer of the Zoom breakout rooms, which will open shortly. Thank you. Well, members, visitors and guests, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to our 30th meeting of this Rotary year. It's our 4,973rd club meeting in our 102nd year, and importantly, it's only 12 weeks until the Rotary International Convention is here in Melbourne. Welcome to everyone for our first members' lunch of the year, and it's a special welcome to our members who will be reporting to you shortly. We have past presidents Mary Barry and Peter Rogers, Bruce Davidson, and Vice President Peter Davis. And also speaking, we have Robert Klupax, the CEO of the Bionics Institute. Robert, along with colleagues Anne Fazackerley and Melissa McShane, will shortly be inducted into the club as designees for our newest corporate member, the Bionics Institute. And you'll see I'm wearing my jewellery today. I've got all the bling on because it's a very special day inducting any member, but particularly this is our first corporate member since COVID, so that's a wonderful occasion. Now, also joining us today, we have Claudia Hendry, who's the Deputy Chair of the Rotary International 2023 Melbourne International Convention Committee. Claudia is in Melbourne this week, along with other members of the RI team, on their final in-person visit to firm up the logistical and operational plans prior to the big event in May. Now, typically, the RI team would have been to Melbourne a number of times in the lead up to the convention, but because of COVID, this is actually Claudia's first visit as part of the convention committee to Melbourne. So we'll be hearing from Claudia shortly. Would you please acknowledge and make these visitors and guests welcome? Now, we also have other visiting Rotarians, visitors and guests of members, both online and in person. And so could you please stand when I announce your name and remain standing for our club to welcome you in our traditional manner. Now, importantly, we've seen him before and met him before, but it's a great honour to have our international visiting Rotarian, Shinji Higuchi. Please stand, Shinji. That's right. You know, you meant to keep standing, Shinji, until the end. That's all right. And we're meant to hold our applause till the end. But Shinji, of course, is from our sister club, the Rotary Club of Osaka, where a number of our members, including myself, visited back in November. It's wonderful to see you here today, Shinji. We also have visiting from the Rotary Club of Maryborough. We have Adrian Masterman-Smith and Lauren Clark. Please standing, and it's wonderful to have you here as well. So please join me in making all of our guests welcome. Now, thank you, you may be seated, but except for, that's right, because on this return visit to our club from Rotary Club of Rotary Club of Osaka, we have Shinji Higuchi. And Shinji's asked for a couple of minutes on the podium to update us on the Osaka Expo and the relationship between our clubs.
Good day, mate. This is Shinji Higuchi of the Osaka Rotary Club. I would like to thank President Nelson and 6 other people for attending the Osaka Rotary Club Centenary celebration last November. Chris Vaughan, Trevor Nink, and Robert Fisher. Thank you so much for coming us to celebrate it in person for the centenary celebration. So unfortunately, you couldn't have an in-person celebration in Melbourne Rotary Club, but we are celebrating our club the 100 years anniversary. The Melbourne Rotary Club and Osaka are proud to have many exchanges before. This time, we will send 12 members of the Osaka Rotary Club who have already pre-registered their RI Melbourne convention. At the end of the May, we will get some exchange together with the Melbourne Rotary Club members. And then after that, I would like to take the opportunity of the 2025 Osaka Kansai Expo to be held in Osaka to realize exchange between the young people who will lead the next generation. So thank you so much to give me the announcement or the information about our future exchange. Thank you so much.
Now, would Robert Klupak, Anne Fazakli, and Melissa McShane come forward for induction into membership of the club? Now, it's almost 3 years to the day we visited the Bionics Institute as a club, just a whisker before the first COVID-19 interruption. All of our 3 designees will be introduced by sponsor, past President Kevin Sheehan, and their mentor in the club will be past President Quinn Scalzo. Over to you, Kevin.
Thank you, President Adrian, for this opportunity to introduce our new corporate member, the Bionics Institute, and its 3 member designees. CEO Robert Klupak, Head of Philanthropy Anne Fazakli, and Development Manager Melissa McShane. Our relationship started on the 4th of December 2019. You remember that? When Robert accepted an invitation from Reg Smith to address Rotary Melbourne on the topic, the future of bionics medicine. That was followed by a visit to the Institute in Albert Street, East Melbourne on the 12th of March 2020, where some 40 of us were further introduced to the work and the groundbreaking achievements of the Institute, which subsequently led to the induction of Deb Eschvelt as a member on the 27th of May 2020 as a precursor to the Institute's corporate membership. Then, as we all remember, the pandemic interrupted the momentum. And it wasn't until September last year when Melissa revitalised the conversation. Now, corporate membership committee chair Michael Self most capably facilitated 2 meetings in our Rotary office to explore the complementary relationship that could be established for the benefit of both the Institute and Rotary Melbourne. A further meeting was held on the 5th of December at the Institute and included a visit to the laboratory facility at St Vincent's Hospital, all of which has led us to where we are today. And I'll leave it to Robert to provide a more detailed address shortly. But I've just been informed, as Adrian mentioned, and I had it in my script, but thank you for saying it, that past President Quinn Scalzo, at the last minute, who couldn't be here today, has offered to mentor Robert, and I'll make sure that Melissa and Anne are also suitably in good hands. And now, President Adrian, it gives me great pleasure to hand over to you to induct our new corporate member, the Bionics Institute, and its 3 designees.
Well, thank you, Kevin. So Robert Klupak, Melissa McShane, and Anne Fazakli as designees for corporate member, the Bionics Institute. We welcome you as members of the Rotary Club of Melbourne. Today, you enter a fellowship of more than 1.2 million members in 36,697 clubs in 220 countries, which embrace the internationality of Rotary. We believe that you have these personal qualities that will ensure our principles and organisation will be safe in your keeping. The Rotary badge you will receive in a moment, and wear with pride, indicates your commitment to the principles to which we aspire. We expect that as you wear this badge, you will become an ambassador from us to the community in which you live and work, and we ask that you convey our ideals and principles of service in your work and personal life. We look forward to you sharing with us as we pursue the Rotary ideal of service above self. And with this expectation, I offer you the right hand of Rotary Fellowship and ask that members rise and join me in welcoming Robert, Melissa and Anne to membership of the club. I'm now going to invite a response from Anne, then Melissa, and then finally Robert to speak more fully about Robert will speak more fully about the Bionics Institute, and after that you'll have an opportunity to ask some questions. So first of all, Anne.
So thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Kevin. It's wonderful to be welcomed so warmly by this group of people. I'm head of philanthropy, which is not all about asking people for money. It's about engaging people and encouraging people to support us in our common aim of helping people who are less fortunate than ourselves. So I work at the Bionics Institute because I love making a difference, seeing the impact that the products we're developing are going to have in the wider world. And I really am looking forward to working with Rotary because I believe that you share that love of making a difference. Thank you.
And Melissa.
I actually grew up with Rotary. My dad was in the Rotary Club in my hometown of Bowral, which you may know is the birthplace of cricketer Don Bradman. Also something for you to look up, the birthplace of Mary Poppins, something to do afterwards. I think for me, Rotary was always the exemplar of community spirit and community engagement. So I'm really privileged to be able to join this particular Rotary Club and to be able to work with the Bionics Institute and yourselves to create a real social impact. Thanks.
So, and finally, we'll have Robert come and speak, and he's going to speak, as I said, more fully about the Bionics Institute. But one last thing, Melissa, of course, you mentioned Bowral, of course, the birthplace of Sir Donald Bradman, who many of our members would know as a distinguished Rotarian at the Rotary Club of Adelaide for many years. So Rotary's deep in his heart, was deep in his heart as well. But Robert, we'd love to hear from you and welcome as a member of our club.
Thank you, Adrian. And just before I start talking about the Bionics Institute, just want to echo the words of my two colleagues, Anne and Melissa. I first was introduced to you, as you heard from your president, December 2019, which seems like eons ago, but realistically, pre-COVID, times were very different. And it was in this particular room, and I couldn't believe just how important the vibe that comes up all of you about wanting to do good, putting back, and we'd had some opportunity to deal with Reg and his colleagues before then and subsequent to that. And the reason I think we as an institute, particularly at the insistence of Reg and all the past presidents, and I'm looking at you, Robert, about saying you need to be involved with us because your purpose at your institute is exactly what ours is. It's to make a difference, to help other people less fortunate, to make a difference to anyone at every level of society. We do it in a certain way, you do it a different way, but we do all trying to do the same thing, which is to lift up and make everyone's lives that bit better. You heard from Anne, the Institute in her role, it's about engaging with people. You do that so very well, and the opportunity for us to engage at the Rotary level and then from the Rotary level introduce other people to our work is a great honour and a great privilege. And I know now from the dealings with some of you in the induction process that there's no such thing as a free meal with Rotary. We're up the road. We thought we might be coming along to lunches, but we do expect to be asked to contribute. And you can see Anne nodding over there. We are more than happy to contribute, not just the three of us, but all of our members and all the people that work for us. because I think the ideals of Rotary are exactly the same ideals that the three of us are trying to inculcate into our organisation. I know we're finishing lunch and I don't want to take up too much time, but some of you wouldn't have heard me speak 4 years ago, and that's a long time ago, and the ones that did probably have forgotten everything I spoke about. So Adrian said, here's your chance. And so a very brief introduction to your newest corporate member, the Bionics Institute. Everyone asked me, what do we do? And some of you will have heard of the cochlear implant, Professor Graham Clark. He started our organisation nearly 40 years ago in 1986. Passion for developing treatments for people with deafness because his parents were deaf. And that was his life's mission. He led to one of the most outstanding contributions to medical history that came from Melbourne all those years ago that spawned the company Cochlear Limited, but it really was the cochlear implant that became the basis for the Bionics Institute. We've become a world leader in hearing research since that time, but really the whole way a cochlear implant works, it's about stimulating the nerves in the ear to be able to hear sound again. What we've learned subsequently is all the engineering capability, the clinical capability that exists in this city and across Australia can be harnessed. And there's so many diseases where harnessing the nervous system's endogenous system to create ways to cure illness is a tremendous way to go, as we've seen with the cochlear implant. So what do? We employ a series of engineers, all types of engineers, mechanical engineers, software engineers, electrical engineers, biomedical engineers, linking them with scientists. We have a number of data scientists, particularly statisticians and the like, and mathematicians and physicists. And then we link them together with a number of clinicians because we're located at St. Vincent's Hospital. They keep telling us the problems to work on, and we try to come up with solutions for them. We're not your traditional medical research institute. To our international visitors, and we've got many coming, Claudia, in a few months' time, and we're going to show off one of the great things of this city, which is Melbourne's capability to do medical research is pretty much unsurpassed. I would say we're number 3 after Boston and perhaps San Francisco in the area, but not many people know that. The medical research we think about is discovery. Our business isn't so much discovery, our business is translation. What we want to do is take discovery, create solutions, and be very practical of turning them into something. What we do now is we've got a number of different themes, but they all come back to the same thing. Can we stimulate a particular part of the nervous system, or can we record from a particular part of the nervous system or the brain to create new therapeutic interventions for a range of diseases? So we're very well known for work in hearing, and I'm going to list them at the moment, but since that time in 1986 when we started, we've now morphed into developing devices to treat and monitor epilepsy, to treat and monitor Parkinson's disease. We've now developed some very interesting technologies and are looking around the age demographic of this room, balance disorders in particular and falls. Looking at the demographics of the room, and I'm part of this as well, we've recently been able to recruit a star who has got pioneering a brand new approach to the treatment of Alzheimer's disease, which I know from personal history and family history, it's a terrible, debilitating disease. There's no drug therapy, and once you've been diagnosed, there's very little you can do. The approach that we're pioneering is very different. We take a deliberate decision to take chance and risk, but we think it could have a dramatic impact. So that's work we're now doing. More recently, the field of inflammation and chronic inflammatory diseases, as particularly with aging and autoimmune diseases, is an area we're now focused heavily on. And we're about to start a major world-first clinical trial in the field of drug-resistant rheumatoid arthritis, which affects 20% of rheumatoid arthritis sufferers around the world. And those, you might not realise, it affects nearly 50 million people worldwide, and there's nothing for them. And if you've ever seen anyone with untreated rheumatoid arthritis, the hands and the feet, their life is terrible. We've just recruited a person who's here with us right now up the road from Sweden. He's a world leader in the use of robotic or neuroprosthetics using titanium, highly engineered implants that are linked to the nervous system to allow people to actually use their brain to integrate the prosthetic. But along the way, he's worked out, he believes, how to treat phantom pain. And if any of you have ever seen anyone with an amputee, or they've lost a limb, that's a major, major problem. But the underlying causes of phantom pain are probably the same causes of pain that we all know. And while we all drop aspirin and Panadol every day and we think pain is easy to overcome, anyone that's lived in this room who knows anyone who's suffered from chronic pain, you probably realise there is no cure for pain. You have to live with it. We think some of the approaches that we are developing, both by neural stimulation and other devices, can overcome that. Again, inflammatory conditions, nerve interactions. I hope none of you suffer from what I suffer, which is sciatica. We believe we have an approach to be able to cure that. It's probably 5 or 6 years away, but that's coming. We are very heavily involved in hearing loss and hearing disorders. So one of the things that we're very passionate about, and not many people know, is a disease called tinnitus, ringing in the ears. It affects many, many more people than we realise. It's about 5%, but there's a range. Some people can live with it, don't even notice it. Some people's lives is terrible and they're suicidal. At the moment, there is no cure and there's nothing that can be done because, other than perhaps some psychological therapy, because the doctors don't know what the disease is. They can't look in your head. It's completely subjective. Unless there was a way to measure your disease, you can't treat it. And so we believe we've come up with the world's first measurement using a combination of brain imaging and very unique mathematical algorithms to be able to do that. And we're going to be moving that into a trial next year alongside an experimental therapy that we think might work, but we can now measure the outcomes. The same type of approach we're using at the other end of the spectrum. People don't seem, a lot of people now in this country and elsewhere, when they're born, get measured for hearing loss. Deafness in babies is now much, much better diagnosed, but there's still a problem with a lot of children being born. They're diagnosed with hearing loss. They don't know what it is, what causes it, and therefore their speech discrimination and their ability to learn language is very, very dramatically affected. We've developed a diagnostic technique, again using brain imaging, to enable us to measure the brains of these young children as babies and see by those signals what is causing that condition, and more importantly, whether they can hear sounds to be able to learn how to speak. Again, that's a world first. That's going into clinical trial as we speak. And the last one is something I'm very passionate about. Looking at this room, it's a great room. Many of you will go to a restaurant. It's noisy. You're sitting across the table with your friends and you cannot hear them. And yet when you go and see your audiologist to get checked, your hearing's fine. The concept of being able to hear in noisy environments is, to be honest, debilitating. And it means a lot of people don't go out, they don't communicate. We now believe we know why that happens. There's a particular frequency of the ear that gets lost, and we need to treat it. However, the way you treat it, devices don't work. Hearing aids especially don't work in that condition. Unfortunately, you need to have drugs. The ear being one of the most complex organs in the body, to get drugs in the ear and have them stay there is not possible. Until recently, my colleagues developed a brand new drug delivery system to put things on the outside of the ear. Drug can secrete into the ear and allow nerves to regrow. And that's a world first as well. And that's about to go into clinical trials. So I'm wrapping up, but our whole model isn't to do discovery, although we do innovate. Our model is to design, test, protect. We need the intellectual property so we can actually make products. Manufacture, so we can create an industry here to do clinical trials, do clinical validation, and then hope then we can pass them on to the commercial phase. And we're very focused on taking what we've got at the bench level into the corporate sector. Again, I spoke earlier about how good this city is in medical research, but unless you're doing clinical development, that doesn't move forward. And we're very proud of the fact that a very small institute, we number at the moment 120 people. We don't think we're going to get much bigger, quite unique skills. We're currently running 4 clinical trials. We're about to start 2 more clinical trials in the next 6 months. As Anne says, we interact with the philanthropic community, angel investors and government to try to fund our activity. And also we interact with patients in particular, because one of the things that we've learnt is that we can be sitting in our bubble, in our ivory tower. At the end of the day, the doctor's telling us that what the patient needs. When we actually sit down with patients, in many cases, what the doctors tell us the patient needs and what the patient says the patient needs are 2 very different things. And at the end of the day, as much as I love doctors and I want doctors to be able to help their customers, it's the patients that are our focus. And so we have a very large program of interacting with the patients to design our products that are fit for purpose. So how does that all lead into why we're here with Rotary? Again, it's values. It's the fact that we have a very, very strong view that Australia can lead the world and should lead the world in some of the things we're doing. We are very small, we don't often get the message out, and when we do get the message out, we usually do it in a very complex, unintelligible way. And so dealing with organisations like Rotary, where it gives us an opportunity to talk about our work, to talk to people who can then take it and talk to others about it, and also bring back to us the feedback about what we should be doing for the community is a great honour and a great pleasure, and I think something that definitely benefits us, and we hope we can benefit Rotary. So again, just to finish, I really like to thank the persistence of all your past presidents, of all the people that took us to lunch, have had coffees with us, and reminded us that, you know, this is something we should be doing. So thank you, and today is the culmination of that, but it's only the beginning, and we hope the relationship can only get bigger and better. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, thank you, Robert. We had planned to take some questions, but our busy program unfortunately prevents us from doing that today. But having Robert and Melissa around the club, it really opens up the opportunity for all members to take your time and talk to them whenever you can to find out more about the Bionics Institute. So welcome, Robert, to Anne and Melissa as well, and we really look forward to embracing the change-making activities of our club. So next, I'd like to call upon Vice President Peter Davis to the podium with a call to arms.
Thank you, President Adrian. As you may will agree, a highlight of Rotary Melbourne's year is the awarding of the Monash Medal in August each year. The medal's named after this club's foundation member and second president, Major General Sir John Monash. It's awarded to those who have provided leadership, integrity and service, which are qualities admirably displayed by Sir John Monash. Previous awardees include Sir Gustav Snossel, Professor Jeffrey Rosenfeld, Professor Fiona Wood, Honourable Michael Kirby, Honourable Tim Fisher and Reverend Tim Costello. The 0808 Committee is now calling for nominations for the Monash Medal for 2023. Nomination forms can be obtained through me or the Rotary office. Nominations should include details of how the nominee satisfies the criteria for the medal, being leadership, integrity and service. Thank you, President Adrian.
Thank you, Peter. Next, I'd like to call Claudia Hendry, who's, as I said earlier, is the Deputy Chair of the Rotary International 2023 Melbourne International Convention Committee, to come to the podium. So, Claudia is a Rotarian from Switzerland and a past district governor of her district. And before I let Claudia update us on convention planning, we'd like to exchange banners between Rotary Club of Melbourne and Claudia's club. Very good. Oh, here we go. Here's Joe quickly. That's right. Excuse the honour, we're having a photo. Very good. So over to you, Claudia.
Thank you, Adrian. Even I'm vice chair of the Melbourne Convention, and I know a lot of you are eager to get some further information and some update. This will be done next week then by Mary. So this time I would like to tell you about, really briefly, about my first experience at the Rotary Convention, which was back in 2013 in Lisbon, shortly before I became district governor. So for me, I have to admit, it was a life-changing moment. I was fascinated about the internationality of the Rotarians I met. It felt like meeting the world in one place. And I felt very inspired by visiting the House of Friendship and just realizing how many different projects worldwide are done. I even made connection to new partners for some grants we intended to do in a different part of the world. And then after my first experience at the convention, I tell all my Rotarian friends and even friends who are not yet Rotarians, once in a lifetime, you really have to visit a convention. And I just wish to every visitor that it will be such a life-changing moment like it was for me. I had the occasion to go to Hamburg, which was quite close compared to Melbourne, for me at least. You have the chance now to go to the Melbourne Convention, which will take place end of May. So for sure, I will be back then again, and I really hope that I will see a lot of familiar faces here from your club. I actually have two names of speakers, hardly for me to even pronounce them, and when I would read the names, you would say, I have never heard or I have no idea who that person is. And yes, it's quite true about Rotary conventions. You might hear and see speakers you have not known before, but you will remember after your visit. And just stay tuned. Visit the Rotary page, rotarymelbourne2023.org for further updates. Mary will present them to you as well. So there will be names you might know, but even so, there is so much more to experience at the convention. So I'm so much looking forward to see you then again. Thank you for your hospitality.
Thanks, Claudia. This is for Mary's benefit because she's going to come and nobble you if you don't put your hand up, I guess. But how many of our members have currently registered for the convention? Could you please raise your hand? It's fantastic. Yeah. So thank you to everyone who has. We'll continue to remind everyone who hasn't registered yet, encourage you to do so, but also to remember that even if you can't attend the full convention, there are certainly events that you can book and go to yourself during it. So that's a fantastic start from our club. Our final speaker for the day is past President Peter Rogers, who's going to update us on our international development project in Papua New Guinea. Over to you, Peter.
Thank you, President Adrian. And can I add my congratulations to the Bionics Institute in joining this wonderful club. We look forward to working with you. And to our visitor, the Deputy Chairman of the convention. We're very fortunate to have you here. On my way up here to the meeting, I met up with Michael Selth, the Lights, and he said that he knew nothing about the PNG Community Piggeries project. And so I said, you're my test case, Michael. I have 5 minutes to give you the basis of our project. This is a project which involves training 180 families in producing the feedstock and producing pigs. And it's in the one of the provinces, Hela province, right in the centre of PNG, in the very high mountain area where Oil Search and Santos are extracting oil and gas. And the aim is to be able to leverage some of the infrastructure that was developed for that into improving the piggery industry in PNG. There are a lot of self-sufficient single-family operators, but this involves producing scale, and with the 180 extra families in Hela province, if we can be successful here, we believe we've got a model which can be extended into other provinces and help PNG become a net exporter rather than a net importer of pork. Everyone will have seen on the news recently the kidnapping of a professor from an Australian university in PNG, and they'll be aware of the unrest that was associated with the elections there last year. And risk management is a key part of our project. We had a speaker at our club 2 weeks ago who has given us a copy of their report on peace building opportunities in PNG, and managing and helping to build peace is an important part of our project. Safety of the pigs. While the fighting's been going on, our prime consideration has been to protect the pigs, and I'm pleased to be able to say we haven't lost any of the pigs, and they're very happily doing what pigs do to produce piglets. And while all the security problems have been going on, the key part of our project has still been continuing. We're currently building the at Nogali, which is the capital of Hela Province, our central facility for breeding pigs and for training. And the Rotary piece in this project is in training the first 50 farmers to be able to undertake this work. Training involves not only the looking after of animals, diagnosing conditions, treating them, but also the growing of feedstock, which is very important to the project as well. Cow is the main feedstock of the pigs in this project. We have obtained a district foundation grant for this project, and that says that we must start doing our first training before the 1st of August, which will be the first 12 months of our grant, and we must complete within 2 years from there. So we have partners in this project, including Oil Search and Santos, but we have particularly a women's group comprising over 100 women who are farmers who are working with us to help deliver this project. And our goal is to turn that interest into a satellite Rotary club. At the moment, there are no Rotary clubs in this province, and indeed there are only about 6 Rotary clubs in PNG as a whole. So a key part of our project is to spread the word, and all of the signage will include Rotary International and Rotary Club of Melbourne. I finally would just want to again offer to you the opportunity, if any of you are interested in the peace building side of this project, I can give you a soft copy or this hard copy of the report of Conciliation Resources, who spoke to us recently, and it's an opportunity also for us to get a better understanding of the issues that exist in PNG which currently cause the fighting. So, President Adrian, thank you for the opportunity, and Michael, I hope you've got some idea of what this is all about.
Now, we do have time for 1 or 2 brief questions about this project, if anyone has any for Peter. Now's your opportunity. That's okay, you can find him yourself. But thank you very much, Peter, for that update. Okay, so it's on to our notices now, and this is when... Well, I'm about to read out your name, Bruce, so that's right, you don't need to put your hand. My first notice is actually to invite Bruce up onto the to the podium. You don't need to wave. So, footy tipping is here. Let's get Bruce Davidson up to remind us how to join the fund. Thank you, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm paranoid. Everybody's sick of footy tipping, and this is my last go. And I've always got to come up with a new line. Anne said she wasn't that interested, and welcome to our new corporate members from the Bionic Institute. Anne said she wasn't that interested in philanthropy. Well, I am. Don't worry about footy tipping. I'm talking philanthropy. And everybody that wants to go in the footy tipping and is interested in AFL, they've signed up or they will sign up. I'm confident they will. Our numbers are down, but we'll still make money out of this. We have fixed costs, and then on top of that, we make a profit and we raise, if we're lucky, $2,000. It's not looking like it at the moment. So I'm saying to all the people in the room here and at home that why not think philanthropy? Join the footy tipping, $40. Remember, the superannuation isn't looking too bad despite what they're saying. $40, and you don't have to tip, or you can give it away. Give it away to one of the grandchildren or someone else and get them to tip. But the important thing is that we get people to join up. If I could get 10 people in this room or at home to join today who are not interested in footy, we'd make $400. We'll be lucky to raise $1,600, so $400 is the difference between a successful fundraising effort. So I put it to you, join the footy tipping. Now, philanthropy is what Philip Endersby does really well. Now, he joins the footy tipping, but he invites all of his staff, and there's many of them, to sign up if they want to be in part of the footy tipping, and he'll pay. He also donates a prize. So thank you, Philip, for your support. It's wonderful. Yes, Mary.
Just about, can you hear me? Just about the famous footy tipping. Well, last year when we had our international visitors from the United States here, we had President Jennifer and we had Jennifer's aide, Brad Howard. Now, Brad became a staunch, die-hard Collingwood supporter while he was here. So let's hear it for Collingwood. And I have now invited aide Brad to join our footy tipping competition, and he is just about to join. So your first international footy tipper right here in the year of the convention. What more could you want, Bruce?
Well done, Mary. There is one of my schoolmates lives in London, and he's joined up under pressure, I can tell you. So thank you very much. Think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce, and thank you, Mary, certainly putting the hard word on both Claudia and Shinji as well for our international tipping. The funny thing is you'll probably do better than the rest of us if you tip anyway. So one other notice is a reminder about our marvellous Melbourne Cocktails event, which is going to be held on the Sunday night during the International Convention. It's held in the Windsor Ballroom. As I said, on the Sunday night, tickets are available now. We've already had a number of sales already, which is fantastic. So please jump online and book, and it's going to be a great highlight of our club for the year. And with that, it's now time for the raffle. Very good. And I'll get Bernie to pick a ticket. Here we go. The winning ticket today, courtesy of Trevor Inc., is an orange ticket E62. And it's Bruce. Well done. That's all right. So the winner's Bruce Davidson. Another reason not to complain, Bruce. So that's wonderful. Okay, so in closing, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to all of our visitors and guests for attending. Thank you also to our MC, Bernie McIntosh, and for his reflection, Philip Cornish, and also our lunch setup team and reception teams for their efforts. As always, please, if you can, stay back a few minutes to assist with the pack-up, and they'd be very much appreciative. A reminder, next week we meet at the Lyceum Club for our monthly evening meeting. Our evening team has planned a special panel in recognition of International Women's Day on the theme Challenging Limitation for Young Women. Guest speakers will be Peter Lusk, who's the CEO of Southern Cross Kids Camps, and Tennille Gilbert, who's the Managing Director and Co-founder for Change Co. The following week, we're back here at lunchtime, here at number 35, for lunch with guest speaker Jenny Gray, and she's the CEO of Zoos Victoria, so that'll be another great speaker that we'll have. And we hope to see you there and at all of our club events.